it's great to have you with us. You've known Jassy for a long time. What do you think is at the top of his priority list as he heads into year two?
Well, I think at the top, thank you for having me. And I think at the top of his list is digesting all this investment they've made over the last couple of years and then charting some next generation paths. There's just so much ahead, so much opportunity, whether it's in AWS, which he built from zero to $75 billion business in 15 years, to, as you say, kind of the core stores business and the marketplace business, and even some of these more emerging categories like media and advertising. So there's quite a lot to do, quite a lot of complexity, and I think he's driving across those areas.
Yeah, Matt, we tend to talk a lot about the businesses that Amazon has been very successful in, such as AWS, which Andy Jassy pioneered. Advertising now has quietly grown into this sort of behemoth in the space. But one business that hasn't maybe lived up to expectations or even its investments is grocery. What do you think Andy Jassy is going to do with grocery as it really kind of struggles to gain market share?
Well, I think they've already pruned in the stores business. So more broadly, that was one of the most interesting moves of his first year by shutting down a number of the smaller and clearly not performing to expectation stores business. But I think in grocery specifically, they're going to stick to it. And they have the platform of Whole Foods. It was the largest acquisition that the company ever made, I think approximately $15 billion. And that is a platform for mixing the physical world and the digital world. And I think they're really only getting started there in terms of experimentation.
Matt, I wonder what you think about the executive ranks. When you get a new CEO and you start to have people getting promoted, you also start to have people leaving. But in what ways are you, if you are watching for the types of different personalities and capabilities that Andy puts into place, and then how that even carries through to how he deals with these labor challenges that Amazon is sure to have as they say they want to be the best employer in the world?
Hey, John, those are great questions. I do think they're pretty different. And the first one on the executive team, I think you're exactly right. When Charlie Bell did not get picked as the CEO of AWS and Adam Selipsky came back to Amazon, Charlie went to Microsoft. You saw some changes here. Dave Clark left and Doug Harrington gets promoted. And so unfortunately, Alicia and others also then, move on. So I think that's a normal type of thing that happens. But I think what Andy's done very well there is have folks like Adam, folks like Doug, Jeff Blackburn, who also came back really just before Andy took the CEO role, people that he's known for a long time and trusts and can work together with. I think the thing to look for there is what are the next generation of up and coming folks that are being cultivated into leadership ranks, to the S team, et cetera. On the labor issues, I think it's very notable that one of the very first things that Andy did was created these two new leadership principles, Earth's best employer being one, and then success and scale, bring more responsibility. And so that combination of responsibility and Earth's best employer, their track record is complex because of the different types of jobs and labor that they have as an organization. But they do have, the $18, wage, minimum wage for them, which is twice the national minimum wage. They have quite strong benefits. I think the hard thing there is that they do expect a lot of their employees. And so how do you balance the expectation of a lot with actually providing strong compensation?